If there's a car out there that might have bridged the gap between like JDM and American muscle, it's absolutely the S550 Mustang. Now, hear me out. If I were to go into some sort of V8 domestic car, I would more than likely find myself behind the wheel of one of these cars. It's just something about them, and definitely, you know, not the only one, since we've been seeing these things literally everywhere. And they are finding themselves in the ownership of a wide variety of enthusiasts. And surprisingly enough, a lot of enthusiasts who have come from previous cars like Subarus and Evos and even Nissan Zs. With the S550 generation becoming the favorite generation of the modern Mustang, odds are you might have gone and picked one up or are looking at getting behind the wheel of one in the near future. So, first of all, welcome. I'm Jels from Fitment Industries, and today we're going to be taking a look and going over everything you need to do to your S550 Mustang. Of course, before we go ahead and just dive right into all the fun stuff and talk about cool car parts and what to do to make these things, you know, a little faster, maybe sound a little cooler or look the best, we should first go over a little overview of what this generation of Ford Mustang actually is. Stuff you should know before jumping straight into modifications, any weird quirks you might have, or anything that is like an absolute must-do when you get your hands on one of these cars. So first things first, S550 generation of the Ford Mustang debuted in July of 2014 for the 2015 model year. The sixth generation of the Mustang featured a wide variety of options, not only for like appearance packages, trim levels and whatnot, and you know, all sorts of different engines as well. From your classic 5.0 Coyote V8, 5.2 liter Voodoo for the GT350 and GT350R, 5.2 liter Predator for the later years of those and the 2020 GT500, and a 3.7 liter V6, and of course, last but not least, the 2.3 liter EcoBoost 4-cylinder engine. That's right, EcoBoost 4-cylinder in an American muscle car. It happened. Remember when bagging on V6 muscle cars was bad? Well, this just kind of kicked it a nickel and brought things to a whole new level. However, people do really love the EcoBoost Mustang, and they have proven they can do some pretty impressive things with them. And even though, you know, we sure do love the GT350, the GT350R, this video is going to focus more on those two platforms, the 5.0 and the EcoBoost platforms. Overall, these are some fairly rock-solid cars. They have proven themselves and have arguably become one of the most popular generations of the car as a whole. The 5.0 Coyote engine with the aluminum block, forged connecting rods, forged crank, and variable timing make it a very solid V8 engine for this generation. However, it does have a little bit known issue of stalling. It's kind of a weird thing that Ford doesn't really want to do anything about. But a weird subject, 3.7 liter Cyclone V6, again, another good engine, however, more built for a balance of performance and efficiency versus just performance. Leaving us the 2.3 liter EcoBoost 4-cylinder engine found in this generation Mustang, as well as other known favorites such as the Ford Focus RS. And even though it has been an proven platform that can perform, it still isn't free of its issues. Some most notable ones, they tend to run a little bit hot. They do suffer from some carbon buildup and can lead to misfires and things like that. Besides, you know, your typical annoyances with the infotainment system, overall great cars, but you probably already know that. You already made the decision of, you know, buying the car, now it's time to make it your own. So let's start talking about mods. What are we going to do is break this down into different categories. We'll start off with some good old wheels, tires, and suspension. You know, what else would we do first? What are people running on these cars? What fits? And move into some performance stuff after that. You know, what can you do to waken these cars up a little bit? And then wrap it up with, you know, anything else we would recommend. New set of wheels can really make or break the look of your car, and it can, you know, be the best thing or the worst thing that you do, depending on how you do it. So let's make sure you do it right the first time so you don't look silly. First thing you need to know is your bolt pattern. Unlike what they decided to do with the Ford Focus, Ford chose a good bolt pattern for this time for this car and went with a 5x114.3, the most popular bolt pattern out there, thank God. So, options, pretty open for wheels. Our friends over at Koenig have been doing aftermarket wheels for a long time. They've become a staple in the aftermarket wheel industry. The Koenig Ampliform is the first wheel that we'd recommend looking at when going with new wheels for this generation Mustang. Flowform wheel comes in the right specs and looks damn good. Nothing too crazy, just the right amount of change to get the right fitment to provide a nice upgrade to the car. Coming in at like a higher entry level to medium price point, right around $1,400 or so, it's a great option to go with when looking to get a new set of wheels for this generation of Mustang. There's a wheel brand out there that has the new age of muscle car scene on lock. It's definitely Ferrata. They have some absolutely killer designs that come in the big size to help fill out those massive wheel wells on these cars, and one that a lot of people tend to snag is the Ferrata FR3, the classic 5-spoke design that goes super well, you know, with the old muscle cars and especially these cars, and not to mention the finishes that Ferrata has like is out of this world. They truly make them something special. And the third wheel setup we would recommend would be the Enovia Elder, whether you're looking for something functional or something, you know, a little wider to air it out. The Elder has the specs for it. We've seen the 19x11 plus 7 setup go crazy for those who want the stance look with these cars and can literally lay frame. If that's not more your style, you can stick with something like an 18 or a 19-inch setup that will leave room for something like a bigger tire. Deco-directional, meaning you're getting a left and right side, make sure both sides of the car look the same, and you know, the sizes coming in under 21 pounds per wheel. Speaking of sizes, let's talk about some fitment for these cars real quick. You have the option to either choose a staggered or square setup. Really depends on what you want to go with. For the front, you know, looking at anything from an 18 to 20 inch for the diameter, with a width landing between 8.5 to 11 inches and an offset falling between plus 15 and plus 35 is your typical, you know, range that you want to stick with. As for the rears, 18 to 20 again, 8.5 to 12 inches for width, so a little bit higher, and then of course a little higher offset to make up for it, so about a plus 20 or plus 40. Of course, with a new set of wheels, you're going to need a new set of rubbers, especially if you want to keep that thing in a straight line. We've all seen the videos, all right? You don't want to be another statistic, you know, so some good tires can help. Our recommendations would be the Falken ZE 960 All Season, the Continental Extreme Contact Sport, or the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S. To tie it all together, a nice drop in ride height helps a ton, and we see a ton of people and a lot of owners of these cars go with more of a lowering spring versus a coilover for a few reasons. Lowering spring like Eibach is like probably the most common go-to. They're pretty affordable, they're everywhere, they make them for everything, and they're most of the time readily available. It's a pretty straightforward process. Something like a lowering spring we see a lot, especially on new age muscle cars, because a lot of these things, you know, being a little bit of a heavier car, coming with things like, you know, Mag Ride suspension or Magna Ride suspension or whatever, you know, that brand is gonna call it. And for a lot of people, they want to keep that functionality of their OEM suspension, being able to adjust it, basically adjusting the damping from a stock setup, which is pretty neat. So they go with something like a lowering spring versus swapping out the entire strut. If you do want to go the coilover route, we would recommend BC Racing coilovers. BC makes pretty much a coilover for everything out there, especially with their BR series. BR series is their entry-level series, gonna be the most affordable, but gives you literally everything you need, from camber adjustment, the damping adjustment, of course, ride height adjustment. You can get some custom spring rates and stuff like that, get you squared away good and neat. If you want to go the air suspension route, which we've seen a lot of people do, especially with the EcoBoost platform, you can absolutely do that. Airlift makes a fantastic kit for these cars. Airlift 3P, by far being one of the most easy and, you know, straightforward suspension setups to install when it comes to air suspension, and that's what our recommendation would be. Unlocking more horsepower is one of the best things of like owning a performance-oriented car, so naturally we would want to do the same with this thing. Starting with the 5-liter Coyote, this being the big old burly naturally aspirated V8, there are some things, you know, that we can do to it. Now, typically you aren't going to see crazy numbers out of like some bolt-on modifications, but you know, it will help a little bit and lets you enjoy the car that much more. Starting with something like the aftermarket intake will help feed more air into the engine, freeing up, you know, other parts of the combustion process, specifically with the exhaust as well. Also another decent way of freeing up some more power, as well as releasing all those bald eagles. I don't know why, you know, these cars specifically, but they're so freaking loud. Typically something like Catback exhaust will get you by, but we tend to see people go like the whole 9 yards. They go headers and all. Probably one of the reasons why all of them are so loud. Brands like JLT, SR Performance, and Roush being some of the go-to brands for things like intakes. And for exhaust, you're gonna see brands like Roush again, Corsa, and C&L. Of course, if you really want to go all wild and crazy, you can start adding things like forced induction and, you know, cracking open the engine, upgrade some internals and things like that, even though they are pretty strong from the factory. On the other hand, you know, when we get opened up to a whole new world of modifications, when you slap a turbo 4-cylinder into these cars, things like your bolt-ons and tunes will get you way more on this platform versus an NA platform, simply because that's just how they work. Naturally, the tuning guys took onto this car like crazy, just like they did with the Focus ST and the RS. Brands like Cobb being able to hop on board and offer things like intakes, exhausts, a flash tune, make it incredibly easy to start modifying these things and unlocking some pretty decent power. Now, it's not gonna be a V8 by any means, but impressive nonetheless. I mean, even the fact that they come factory with like 310 to 330 horsepower is pretty dang good. Blows earlier generations with the V8s out of the water. People are claiming numbers right around, you know, 360 7380 with bolt-ons and a decent tune with these cars. And if you're wanting to break into that 400 horsepower number, you're gonna need to start looking at things like a custom tune, maybe a bigger turbo, and especially E85 to get you there. As far as other modifications, honestly, these things are set up pretty good from the factory. I mean, they got a good aggressive look to them. You know, the interiors are pretty decent. You know, like I said, the infotainment thing is a little bit weird, but I feel like it's just like every car nowadays. You know, of course, you can never go wrong with a little bit of aero, some custom lighting. We see people go crazy with the custom lighting on these cars, especially in the taillights and headlights. Not to mention, you get a lowered ride height, and then maybe on some air suspension, some underglow look pretty dang good. I know underglow on a muscle car sounds kind of weird, but we see a ton of people do it. But definitely get some aero, make it a little more aggressive. The car deserves it. They look so freaking good. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoy your S550 Mustang if you picked one up, or if you're looking to pick one up. And of course, if you need some wheels, tires, or suspension like we talked about in this video, head on over to fitmentindustries.com. We got it all. You can check it out all over there. You can check out the gallery, see what's gonna fit your car as well, see real firsthand images of what it would look like. So go check it out, fitmentindustries.com. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Justin. We'll see you later.